Engaging in combat is the ultimate form of intimacy. What makes them act and react, what their strengths and weaknesses are, what scares them and what emboldens them. Only by knowing these intimate details can you prepare yourself for what is ahead for the both of you. Or peel them in half, whatever. Coming off the high that was Mortal Kombat 10, the expectations for Mortal Kombat 11 to succeed were even higher. And while MK11 did surpass MK10 in some regards, it did feel like a step backwards in others, especially with its gameplay. As the dawn of Mortal Kombat 1 draws near, there are tons for the developers to learn from MK11, both from what it got right to what it could have done better. Let's look at exactly what these things are.
Finish him.
Kill. Live service gaming. You heard me. Kill it. The part of it requiring an internet connection most of the time? Kill it. The game needing an internet connection to work means that I can even access certain features of the game on my Wi-Fi connection if I happen to walk 30 feet away from the router because I'll be considered offline. I paid for the game. Why can't I play what I paid for whenever I want to? Making the game online for most of its features caused issues well within the first week of release. Server issues in the game heavily reliant on the internet is not a fun time for those excited to just hop in and play.
Quitality.
Some players even missed out on rewards because of a slight hiccup in their internet connection after playing on a challenging tower, a game mode that is reminiscent of your usual arcade mode in other games. The prospect of online functionality and how it fails players does not stop there. What felt bad to a lot of gamers was the idea that some customization options are locked behind online exclusive limited time challenge towers called Towers of Time. Not to be confused with the previously mentioned towers. What is going to happen to these customizations once the servers inevitably end their service? Will fans just be unable to access any of that despite the options being inside the game files? Understandably, the removal of the live service online-only aspect is unlikely, since the game needs patches to keep it fresh as an ongoing esport. The mandatory online check is also in place to verify things, such as if players hack their coins to an absurd amount, or if they're altering their profile data to be at the top of the leaderboards. But hopefully, maybe once the servers die, they'll provide alternative ways to unlock these customizations for those that might have gotten into the game late. It doesn't even need to reach that point. There are people who play this game for the story and the single-player experience of simply unlocking things in the crypt and customizing how their characters look. Implementing these changes can help this demographic as well. And while we're at the topic of customizations, let's just get this out of the way. They implemented custom movesets, but some are allowed in tournaments and some aren't. Kill it now. Kill it with fire! The very idea of swapping out moves for each other to pick your custom move list loadout is already problematic at best. It is reductive gameplay, stripping you of certain options in place of others, rather than being constructive. Similar to how MK10 handles variations. MK10 has a base character with its moves, and the variations are added on top of it. Players are given a foundation that is a character, and it is entirely up to them on what they add onto it. MK11, however, replace whole parts rather than add to those already established foundations, and only a few of those parts are actually allowed to be used online or in tournaments. Do you know how terrible of a decision that is? Every fight would look pretty much the same with how streamlined the moves are. It is a battle of, this move is for this situation, that move is for that situation, and nothing else. No spice and definitely no sauce. The interactions with different characters are essentially cut in half with how little is allowed. They somehow got the right idea eventually. NetherRealm eventually updated MK11 to allow all custom moves and any custom loadout to be used. But all that did was open the floodgates for a balancing nightmare. Custom moves that may have been seen as just for fun then became incredibly overpowered, and so it still broke the game. See, this is why we thought it was a bad idea in the first place. And now, tournaments started banning certain moves because of it. Like these. Why are you stopping me from manipulating the match timer? Before we move on to the more positive things we can learn, recent developments bring up quite a few concerns. This one is a nitpick at most. but it's pretty cool that the banter is relegated to the loading screen.
Your actions cost lives, Bihan.
And it's concerning that it's only on the loading screen. No more goofy banter we're used to hearing so much before a match.
Old fart me will not shut up about it.
They only get one line each too. The other concern is about the first combat pack. As we near the release of Mortal Kombat 1 and all of the hype building around it, NetherRealms busted out the big guns when stoking the flames of hype. Omni-Man! Yeah! Homelander! Yeah! Which is pretty neat and all until you realize, wait, is this a DLC? The game isn't even out yet, and as expected, there are multiple versions of the game ready for pre-order, and the price points can get pretty steep. Okay, now that we've gotten that brutality out of the way, we can stick to more positive things about 11 that we can learn.
Finish him.
Kultivate. Coins, crypts, and customizations. Barring the necessity of an online connection which he opted to kill or get rid of earlier, Mortal Kombat 11 did a great job with the crypt. The beautiful areas with Easter eggs and references to other titles are cool too. Strolling around in this area while spending your hard-earned coins to get outfits? We are gaming. They can cultivate this even further by adding additional areas to visit as they update the game, adding even more things to unlock. They can even add classic Mortal Kombat things like Test Your Might, or Test Your Sight, or come up with new things on their own. Test Your Height. We tried to input a bunch of buttons in a sequence to climb this mountain, lest you risk falling to your certain death. Or Test Your Fright, where the first-person point of view of the crypt becomes a horror game, and try not to flinch from the oncoming jump scares.
Finish him.
Keep, the complete package, and netcode. If there is something Mortal Kombat 11 knows how to do right, it is to deliver a complete package. You have the fan service. You have one of the best story modes in fighting game history, and you have even more fan service. And even with the gameplay being divisive, you have a rich online experience. The connection is still buttery smooth despite having to connect to someone farther away because the game is old and not a lot are playing it. Rarely do you get what you pay for when paying full price for a game. Mortal Kombat 11 delivered a game complete with everything we mentioned before. You rarely even get an arcade mode with stories like these, let alone a dedicated story mode or even an expansion of said story mode with the Aftermath DLC. All we're saying is, I hope we get the same treatment, or even better, with MK1.
Finish him.
Commend. This section is mostly to commend things that MK1 has already shown that are already better than what MK11 did before this video was even released, specifically the cameo fighters. From what we know so far, it is what's going to add the needed variations to the game. As expected of NetherRealm, they have that down already. We are returning to the usual 3 meters instead of the weird 2 offensive and 2 defensive meters while making use of the cameo fighters, which are looking great so far. A lot of functions we are familiar with are now relegated to the cameo fighters, such as combo breakers, while also introducing something fresh into the Mortal Kombat world. Are those air rays with assists? As we know of NetherRealms, they're always sure to deliver a complete game, and overlooking the price of it and breaking a bit of bank might just be worth it if you're that much of a hardcore MK fan. Mortal Kombat 1 will come out soon, and they're already breaking expectations with their approach to this game from what they've shown up to this point. Some might not completely agree with the direction of resetting the timeline again, but you can't deny how good this game is. 2023 is looking great so far for gaming, and we hope for the best for this one. Do you agree with the things we mentioned about Mortal Kombat 11? Do you have your wish list for Mortal Kombat 1? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.